put my thoughts out on what it means to like be consistent and create stuff of your own. Most importantly about consistency, I want to be able to be in a position where I consistently create stuff on the internet. For me, that expression of stuff is basically these videos. So I want to be able to create videos as quickly as I can. I want to like streamline my videos effectively so it just doesn't become a hassle for me to make them. So basically I want to make it really easy on myself to create videos rather than including like motion graphics and stuff like that, which are really time consuming. I feel like the way audience reacts right now is there is like a short term interest in like motion graphics and things like that, but in the long term, if you do want to build a personal brand, I think you need to be the face of your own personal brand, not the motion graphics or the underlying editing methods. I mean, I'm not saying that those things don't work. Those things clearly work, obviously, but I feel like having more volume out is much more important than having more stuff which has like having more stuff going on the screen. Like motion graphics does work well, but like when it comes to like really not niche topics, but like a good topic such as like documentaries and explainers and stuff like that, we have channels like Fun, which I've been following for like quite a while in the last few days, just talking about what it mean, like just sort of creating this market of motion graphics, blender elements, stuff like that. So I feel like if you are on a journey to build your own personal brand on the internet, it's more important for you to have your own thoughts and opinions in your face plastered on your own personal brand, because that is how people are going to recognize you pertaining to your personal brand. So that's one thing. I've been seeing this YouTube channel, I don't quite remember the name, but it talks about journeys of people like Basquiat and Prince and how dedicated they were in terms of pumping out volume and just creating stuff with high speed and high intensity that gave them an edge over everyone else. It's content that didn't, obviously both are from very diverse fields. One is from artistic painting and the other is from music and music production, but one key factor that sort of unites both of them is the way they integrated speed into their work. Like no matter where they were, basically I heard this quote from one of Prince's assistants who was like always constantly helping him create stuff. So she says if Prince was not eating or sleeping, he was creating music. I think that's the level of obsession that you need in order for something to work or something to prosper. Like basically when it comes to like creating art and artistic expression, yeah, like to some degree the way the art looks does matter, obviously, but I feel like it goes back to the old pottery dilemma. I call it the pottery dilemma. So basically there was this study conducted. So we had a bunch of students in pottery class to make pots using clay. So researchers divided them up into two groups. One group was assigned such that they were like, hey, we're going to give you 30 days, and in this 30 days I want you to make one pot with absolute perfection. And the other group of people, they said in these 30 days of time I want you to create one pot for each day. And more often than not, people who were in the second group wildly outperformed people in the first group, which sort of is indicative of how important volume is over quality and how consistency is over the way your product looks. Obviously the look and feel of the product is really important and sort of is indicative of what your expression or artistic expression is. So having this sort of mindset of, okay, no matter what, I want to produce stuff, I want to make stuff irrespective of irrespective of what it means to like think about quality, is really important. I think like just making stuff in the long run, like making stuff which you feel is good enough and putting it out in the real world, is sort of pretty much what people need. End of the day, if you're building a personal brand, people are more likely to respond to you and not your motion graphics or the way you depict data. again, that's going to be part of the umbrella of your brand, and it's not going to be your brand itself. So having this sort of mindset of, wherever I go, whatever I do, I just have to like be in this mindset of constantly creating. Another important point is, so Basquiat, one story of Basquiat is, he basically had unlimited inspiration. So basically, whatever he saw, whatever he experienced, he was reading about the Punic Wars, and one of his paintings just had Punic Wars in it. And I know, like, you see some of Basquiat's painting and you're like, is this really art? But I mean, at some point, like, you have to be. I feel like in order to create something new and unique, you have to have some degree of pretentiousness, and you have to have some degree of, okay, like, this is going to be really hard. You gotta be, I don't want to say egotistical about your art, but you need to have some degree of one-sidedness towards what you're going to be doing and expecting out of this art and commission that you've set out for yourself. It's going to be really hard. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Gives me the bumsies. But yeah, I want to make stuff constantly over the internet, and for a long time it's been shorts. Over like past 2 weeks I've just been making shorts. I've not been making full form content, and I want to pivot back to full form content for a bit, because I feel that's where the core audience for YouTube at least lies for. And shorts do work. I'm not saying shorts don't work. I've gained a lot of subscribers and a lot of views through shorts. A lot of people on the internet now know that I do exist. Like, my last short got 1.4 thousand views, so, and like half of it, like 500 or 600 were like engaged views. So 500 to 600 people have seen my face, heard my voice, talk about something that I was passionate about, and that makes me happy. Like 2 weeks ago, nobody knew, and nobody in the internet knew that I existed, and now 2 weeks later, I'm able to pin together certain clips. I'm able to make decent edits. I'm no pro at this. I just started learning Premiere Pro like 2 weeks ago. I'm able to do some decent edits here and there. I'm able to stitch together my thoughts in an accurate sort of package where I'm just okay with it being out in the real world, but which is important to some degree for me, thinking about like, okay, there is going to be this huge chunk of people who are out there, who are better than me, more knowledgeable, who are better than me, more knowledgeable than me, well spoken than me, well dressed than me, well presentable than me, good looking than me, and all these people have a lot of edge over me over a lot of things. But the one edge that I feel like I have over people is I sort of have to start developing this obsession towards creating stuff, and this creating stuff is like part of what I'm doing right now. And it's just not about like talking in circles about things that I want or care about. Like, the three genres that are in my vision right now is like tech, gaming, and anime. I don't really talk about anime that much because I'm no anime savant. I don't watch it that often. I only watch like really popular ones. Like, I'm watching right now. It's going well. I love the animation, the art style. Pretty indicative of how far anime has come over like the last few years, even like the last decade. Like, if you consider, I think when I was 12 or 13, I didn't even know what anime was, and 10 years later I actively push people in the direction of that art form, because it's just like, I feel like you're missing out on so much if you don't engage in anime. Like, it takes so much effort to like draft every scene, and like when the end result is actually so pretty and so beautiful, it's mind-boggling that people just like walk over it just saying it's like cartoons for kids. Like, dude, have you seen Attack on Titans? People get eaten and there's like betrayal and stuff like that, but anime is pretty cool. It's told me a lot of stories of what it means to be adamant towards your dreams, what it means to cement yourself and sort of protect yourself from negativity, and to keep going constantly even though the tides aren't in your favor. So that's one surprising thing. I don't know if the world is going to be a peaceful place for me. Hopefully it doesn't, because I get bored pretty often. I feel like I'm someone who doesn't work well in non-stressful environments. Like, I need to have some form of conflict or some form of tension for me to like be at my peak. I just don't do good. I'm not a happy person where it's just like I remain positive at all times. I think positivity is like a huge flaw where I just can't be happy and put in my maximum effort at the same time. Like if I have to go 100% at something, the only way I can do that is when I'm like extremely deep in the sauce and like just boiling with rage or curiosity or some negative emotion sort of poking at the back of my head. It's never been a situation where I was really happy about doing something and I've done it with 100% sort of confidence, with 100% intensity. It's only when I'm like sad or like really angry at certain things when I'm like actually narrows down all the distractions, sort of eliminates all the noise in my head, and then I like laser focus on the task. So when people say, happiness and negativity, happiness is important. Happiness is obviously important, but for me in particular, when I want myself to get laser focused, I sort of use different tools in my toolbox of emotions like envy and anger and pain, of rejection, stuff like that, and like which helps me like kill away every noise in the background and sort of helps me laser focus on the task. So yeah, that's been about it. Let's see where this goes. See ya.